straight from Ghana. So let's go over the target really quickly. Today you're going to be able to learn how to stew, the technique of stewing, and then you're also going to be provided an article that talks about the history of cuisine in western parts of Africa. So let's get started. Today we're making ground nut stew, and I'm going to tell you a little story that goes along with that later on, but let's get started real quick. So this is how we're going to start. We're going to start out with a whole entire chicken. Yep, that's how it starts off. And we're going to put some onion in there. So I'm just going to break this up into large chunks because we want to actually take these out afterwards, okay? So I'm just going to put that there. We're going to use a little bit of ginger too to go on that. So follow me over here. Okay, so here we go. So what you're going to do is you're going to put this on medium heat, okay? You're going to go ahead and take the ginger and you're just going to rub it all over the chicken, right like so. Like this, get all that good flavor on there, right? And it came with necks too, so we're going to put that in here because that's going to give really good chicken broth. We're going to use all the chicken on here eventually. So we're going to go ahead and put the chicken right in here. This is full of water, if you can see. Then we're going to go ahead and put the onions in here too, okay? And we're just going to boil this for 30 minutes and cover it while it's boiling. So let's go ahead and get started. We're going to have 2 jalapenos, and I'm going to show you how to do these. You're going to cut off the stem right here, okay? Throw that, discard that, and then you're going to cut down the center here, and then I always, in order to avoid my fingers getting really bad, I just scrape it off. I have a disposal, and I'm just going to scrape all this out of here, you know, because my fingers are going to get really, really hot if I touch these. And then later on I touch my face or something and it's just painful. So anyways, put these together and then run your knife through, just like this. We're gonna going all the way down. So I already did one that I cut up here, so we're gonna put these together and put this over here, and then this is okra. I kind of want you to come in close and look at this. This is kind of what it looks like. It's from the South, and they have it in a lot of different places in Africa as well, but it's mainly, you know, not in Washington State very frequently. So my grandfather was from Tennessee, so he definitely grew up with okra and he demanded it all the time. But you're just going to take off the edge right here, the very, very top, and then discard these, okay? And then you're just going to run your knife through here. We're going for small circles, okay, and we're going for 2 cups of okra as well. So I already have 1 cup down there at least ready to be put in the stew. Ground nut stew from Africa, Ghana specifically. And I already cut up my onions here. And then 2 cups of eggplant that I've chopped up already. 1 tomato that I've cut up already. We're going to be putting in 3 tablespoons of tomato sauce, and then all the herbs and spices that go with that. And then 3/4 of a cup of peanut butter. That's going to be interesting. 3 cups of chicken broth here later on too. So after 30 minutes, this is what your chicken's going to look like. Oh man, look at the color of the broth in there. It looks beautiful, and then there is some fat here just kind of bubbling up, ready to be used in the stew that we're going to be making. So that's the exciting part. It's looking good. So you're just basically going to take this off of the heat, put the whole chicken out onto a cutting board, and then let it cool down and then shred all the chicken up. And then we're also going to save the broth, discard bones and skin and the onions in there. And then we're going to use that for our stew. So we have all beautiful chicken broth underneath. Look at that, you guys. Look at that. Okay, now I'm going to show you how to kind of take the skin off. I have my colander down here in the sink so that it can catch all this coming off of here. But you just take the skin off and the bones, see, they kind of fall apart. See how they fall apart and everything kind of comes apart like this? That's what you want, okay? And so then, once you get off the, let's put that over there. You're just gonna take your chicken and you're just gonna shred it like this. See how I'm doing this? I'm just shredding this chicken like so. Let's get a big old, you just shred like this. See how I'm doing that? That's called shredding the chicken. When we're gonna put this into this stew, and you just do that until every bit of the chicken that you've just stewed and boiled into to get all this beautiful, beautiful broth right here. Yeah, we're gonna use that. And we're gonna put all this chicken in there after it gets shredded up. I already put my stove on medium, about 5 or 6 on the dial here. And we're gonna go ahead and put 2 tablespoons of oil. Any type of oil is fine, canola oil. I'm using olive oil just because I prefer that. But you can use whatever you want. So we're going for 2 tablespoons here. Okay, there we go. Go ahead and put that in there. And then after we do that, let's move this over here. Got 3 tablespoons of tomato sauce that I'm going to put in here. And I'll kind of let this pan fry for a minute here. We're going to go ahead and put in the onion. Yum, yum. Okay, this is a half of an onion, so you use a full onion. The first half goes into the chicken, and then you discard it afterwards, okay? So we got onion going in there. Then we're also going to put in some jalapenos. Those go in there. Look at those nice round jalapenos. Those look nice. Okay. And then we're going to put in the tomatoes here. We can put those right in there as well. Let's see here. Let me see if I can find my African spoon. Here it is. Here it is. Here it is. Yes, this comes from Africa, from Ghana. So it goes perfect with this. Okay, here we go. Just go ahead and stir this up. And I'm using a larger pot to do this. And we're just going to let this simmer and saute for about 5 minutes. Okay, I'm adding in the herbs, a half a teaspoon of basil, half a teaspoon of oregano, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, and then a half of a teaspoon of cayenne pepper. That goes in here. Stir it up. Okay. After letting these vegetables sweat for about 5 minutes, we're going to put in the okra, so it's time. Okay. Okra goes in, yum. Look at this in here. This, it looks so delicious. And we're also going to put in, that was 2 cups of okra, and then 2 cups of eggplant. Goes right in there, and we're just going to move this around. Wow. Keep stirring this all up and get all those flavors absorbed in there. About 3 or 4 more minutes. Okay, this is what it looks like right before you put the chicken in. Oh man, it's smelling so good. I'm loving it here. This is all the shredded chicken right here from that whole chicken that I had. So go ahead and take it and toss it in here. Woo-hoo-hoo-hoo-hoo. Toss all this chicken in there. Wow, this is going to make an awesome stew. Every bit of this in there. Okay. And then, oh, I better rinse my hands very quickly. Dry them before I put in the chicken broth. Okay. because this is our chicken broth. Remember, we made this earlier. Let's go ahead and pour this in here like so. Oh man, look at that. Wow, how exciting. And then we're going to put in our peanut butter. This is why it's called ground nut stew, is because of this. It gives an awesome flavor to this dish. So we're just gonna put this in here and we're gonna stir it around and we're gonna let it stew until it is done. Takes about 30 more minutes, 15 to 30 more minutes, depending upon, you know, how hot your heat is. I have mine on medium. And we'll take a look in 15 to 30 minutes. I'm so glad that it's the end of the show and we get to try this and plate it up and make it look beautiful. You know, here we go. I'm gonna put in about a teaspoon of salt, because you're supposed to season it at the very end. You know, and a little bit of pepper here, okay? And I'm just gonna stir it together. This is like for 10 people, you know? Well, my daughter went to Ghana and she brought back this recipe and I had to make it for her. She said, Mom, you have to make it, you have to make it. So I did. And I've been to West Africa as well, and it's a wonderful place to visit. And so I got to taste some of the food there too, and it was really tasty. So we're just gonna plate this up right now and put some white rice underneath. I always have white rice to go with everything just about. You know, it's always a great staple to have. And then after that is going to be a couple of scoops of this here. Here we go. Oh, there's number one. Okay. And then here's number two. There we go. And then we're just going to take these and sprinkle them on here and make it look pretty. Okay. And then lastly, we're just going to take a little bit of pepper here and sprinkle on there. And we're going to wipe that off real quick. Okay. Just grab a paper towel and wipe away so it looks beautiful. Okay, that's how you plate up things. Here it goes. I'm gonna try it now. I'm ready. It's gonna be a little spicy, I think, but the rice helps. Okay, here we go. Oh my. Ooh. A little bit of this, a little bit of that. I don't want to burn my tongue. Mmm. Oh, well, the peanut butter in there, and the spice, and all the okra, and the eggplant makes it really good. And I'm so glad that you came and experienced Africa with me today. Please come back next week because it's going to be a surprise.